What's up, YouTube? This is my journey with Omicron. I've only had the one vaccine. I didn't have both doses. I got Moderna back in, I want to say it was May of 2021. The initial dose was given to me. I had an allergic reaction to it. My throat and my tongue started swelling. I didn't have an anaphylactic reaction, but I had to take Benadryl back to back, so it didn't progress to reaction. I opted not to get the second dose. I was exposed to COVID by my daughter, but ultimately believe I got it from my 16-year-old son. So here's my story, and I assume I have 100% sure simply because that's what's going around now, so I figured that's what I have. But here's my journey. I was initially exposed to COVID by my daughter. Unfortunately, she got it first, and that's how our journey began with COVID. My daughter wasn't getting much better, and after she had it for probably roughly a week, her coughing was increasing. So I took her to see my doctor. She did a virtual visit, and she ordered a test that she wasn't getting pneumonia, and it was negative. So they ordered her the antiviral Pfizer just came out with for COVID. She got it. She made a turn for the worse. Right after she started taking it, she started having a lot of problems with breathing. So we took her to the urgent care that weekend. They put her on steroids and breathing treatment. After they put her on the breathing treatment and the antibiotics and the steroids, she came to my house on that Monday so that I can take care of her, make sure that it didn't turn into pneumonia. I was very careful, though, making sure I did everything right, was masked up. She was masked up. Everything was taken care of. And she stayed at my house until that Thursday. And then she went home feeling much better. I do think it's important to let you know that during this whole process, because I've been so scared of COVID for so long, I have been taking vitamins, and especially very consistently, probably for the last 3 or 4 weeks before COVID, I was taking vitamin D and, vitamin B, a prebiotic or probiotic, and what else was I taking? Zinc and vitamin C and selenium. That's a combo. It's an immune response drug. That drug is a vitamin that I got over the counter, and which I think has had a big part in me really being able to weather this. But also, my son and I were spending some time together on that Saturday after my daughter went home, getting things for the Super Bowl, and that's where I was exposed. He started calling in the car. He gets so offended anytime I ever allude to him having COVID because he says I panic too much. But at any rate, he kept coughing, and after about 5 minutes, I made him put his mask on. I put my mask on. We were in the car that day probably for about an hour and a half, not like constantly. I'd go to the store and come out, and he'd be in the car, and then he'd cough, and he coughed again, and then I looked at him again and didn't say anything. And by the third time, I had my Lysol spray beside me, because that's my favorite thing to do. And I was spraying his area, and I was like, look, baby. So, long story short, on Super Bowl Sunday, he started coughing more. The next day, I sent him to bed that night. The next day, he had a low-grade fever, didn't feel good, headache, the whole 9 yards. I gave him a COVID test, and he tested positive for COVID. I tested myself for COVID because I've had like sore throats off and on for the last 2 weeks. I think it's all in my head. Headache off and on, not really bad. So I tested negative for COVID at this point. So this was on Monday, Valentine's Day, 2/14, that he tested positive and I tested negative. But by Wednesday morning when I woke up, was a little different. I woke up feeling, I can't even explain it. It was a little different though. I woke up feeling just a little bit off. It was 98.2 under my arm, and I was like, oh crap. I think I'm going to start running a fever, but when I run a fever, I get really achy. I can't move. I can't do anything, and I didn't feel like that. I just felt off, so I was like, maybe not. I was trying to keep hope, By 10:30, I think it was 98.7 or 8.
98.7, I believe. I could feel the difference in the way I was functioning. I was more fatigued. Trying to make it to 3 o'clock. I had one more. I had bought 2 of the Binex rapid tests. They come 2 apiece. And I the first day on Monday, my son and I took it. I tested negative. On Monday, he tested positive.
So because my symptoms had progressed and I was feeling horrible, just sick, headache and all that. Well, headache wasn't that bad. But at any rate, I took the second test and I tested positive.
Those were my symptoms day 1. Ickiness, fever, cough. By the time the night had fell, nights are worse with COVID. Nights are worse with any sickness, but COVID nights are horrible.
My fever got up that night to 101.7. Because I'm in the medical field, one of the things, a huge component to me is let your body fight the infection if you can. So I didn't take anything for my fever to fight the infection. I'm not going to say that was a great idea. Looking, hindsight's 2020. I mean, not a great idea because it was very uncomfortable and absolutely hated it, but I do think it did help me.
So I could get rid of the infection quickly. Well, I didn't take anything for it, and I will say I was disoriented and I hallucinated all night long. I would like to say I wouldn't do it again.
But on day 2, a headache was added to my symptoms along with the fever, the occasional cough, sore throat. The headache was unreal. It was unlike any headache I've ever had. Migraines before in the past, but I've had tension headaches, and this headache was horrible. I mean, I could not weather that storm. So I ended up taking something for the headache, and I had hoarseness. So if you know me, I have a deep voice anyway, but I have been extremely hoarse this whole time, which is really odd where that's coming from.
Nights are bad, like I said before. So that night I developed some congestion. But by the morning time, it had subsided. That next morning, I was not feeling bad, but that wasn't too bad. Until the nighttime hit and my symptoms got worse. So let me see if I can recap real quick. Day 1 was fever. So day 1 was fever, cough, sore throat, ickiness, disorientation, and hallucinations. I think I did have some low back pain on day. Was the most things that I felt. And the brain fog, that's a real thing, people. Because me sitting here trying to remember what my symptoms were every day is like, what? You just had it. You're only on day 5. Come on. But brain fog was...
All right, so day 2, I had low-grade fever, the really bad headache, took something for it. I broke down, I had to take something for that. Fatigue, hoarseness, occasional cough, and sore throat. And that's about it on day 2. Day 2, I felt better. Day 3, didn't have a fever at all day 3, but I did have chills, but not much of a fever. I felt better. My cough was still occasional, no congestion, headache off and on. It wasn't like excruciating that I had to take something for it. It would hit and last for about 30 seconds to 2 minutes, and then it would go away. Hoarseness still, occasional cough, sore throat. A lot better. So I thought, well, let me see if I can exercise. And I did try to exercise. I think I got on the elliptical for like 15 minutes, my elliptical. And I was sweating like crazy.
So I woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning, day 4. Oh my gosh. I felt like someone had been shooting guns right beside my ear. So I put my mask on. I got up and went downstairs in the kitchen. I got some olive oil. I warmed up the olive oil, and I got a Q-tip, and I put that in my ear. And don't let anyone tell you these old remedies that
those home remedies do work, and it worked wonders for my ears. It went from a 20 down to a 7, which was amazing for me. I was able to lay down and rest. But day 4 was spent most of the day in earache, taking pain medication throughout the whole day just to get myself together. So by the time day 5 hit, I went down in that day, but I felt better.
My office is closed off for the rest of the house, so I'm not concerned with exposing anyone else. Today it's just sort of, my ears hurt, but they're just sore. They're not painful hurting. My voice is not back, and that's how COVID has impacted me. It's not been so bad. I don't think it's really any different. Well, yeah, it is. It's pretty bad. COVID nights are horrible. I will just say that. I will be back soon to finish showing you my process of trying to get my dream home and how all that turns out. All right, guys, have a good afternoon. Bye.